välkomna tillbaka till ett helt nytt avsnitt här på min kanal av Edith Finch. Ja, vi är där vi slutade. Vi är här vid Grandpa Sam. Han dog för han blev nedstångad från en klippa av älgen.
Instead of hiding from death, Sam seemed to go out of his way to meet it.
Så ja, vi ska väl fortsätta nu då. Jag har ingen aning om vart vi ska i alla fall. Finns det ingenting där. Måste det vara någonting? Nej. Haha. Fan vad det. Okej, men jag har gjort 2 videos på detta hittills ju och
After Sam died,
det är en rolig
my mom and
spel.
Edie got really close. They'd both lost a lot.
Okej. Men detta är ett av de roligaste spelen jag vet att spela. Så om ni gillar detta så får ni ta och prenumerera om ni inte redan gör det, så tumma upp. Kommentera också. Får ni göra.
Dear Kay, do you remember the way Gregory used to laugh when he thought he was alone? Like something funny was happening, but only he could see it. I think he saw things the rest of us don't.
Och vi bebisen. Wee. Wee. Gregory is... Oh, vad fan jag styr gör den?
It's over, Gregory. It's time to... Hold on, sweetie. Hello?
Ja, det där var kanske dumt gjort.
Sam, I told you I don't want to talk right now.
I wonder what he saw.
Oh.
What his world was like.
Aha. En hel ankflock. Kan man hoppa upp på sidan typ?
So much of Cal
Jävlar vad högt jag är. Så.
lost in his imagination. Whatever it was he saw.
De busar mig. Jag ska få ner valen såklart. Ja. Titta här nu. Nej men titta här.
It sure made him happy.
Ja då. Nu ska vi vända lite på den kameran. Okej, vi ska ha ner tvålen där uppe antar jag. Upp. Upp. Hoppa på honom.
I know how silly it sounds.
Okej.
I'm worried about a baby being too happy.
Vänta. Options. Sound effects. Kan vi skriva ner lite? Det är lågen högst. Musik lite. Brightness kan vi ta lite så där. Fan varför inte ändå?
I know you did everything you could. Maybe if I hadn't called that night.
Damn it. Hold on, I don't want Gregory.
Jag är fortfarande i grodan. Okej, jag fattade jag inte.
I wish he could have told us about the world he saw.
Aha, jag fattar. Han drunknar nu i badkaret.
There's so much I don't understand about Gregory. About everything.
Okej, så nu är den här leksaksgrunden då kanske. Eller Gregory, där borta valen.
But I
Oh,
know
no.
what happened wasn't your fault.
Ja, jag ska ta upp den här nu. Ja, den drogs upp.
I'm sure he's happy. And he'd want you to be happy too. Good luck, Kay. Love, Sam.
Så det som jag antar hände var att han drunknade i badkaret. Gregory. Tragiskt. Ja. Men nej, där har vi valen. Jag tror inte han hade något val.
I can't imagine my mom ever writing poetry, and yet.
A poem for Gus, who always said the wedding was a bad idea.
Weeding body.
Our father never put us kids,
Den har jag
at
sett
least
på
not
YouTube.
very hard, before the day my brother said with teenage disregard that he'd be dead before he'd see a wedding in our yard. My father made him come, of course, but Gus stood far apart, just flew his kite and bottled up the storm inside his heart.
Kommer bara inte riktigt ihåg vad man ska göra. Ska jag ta upp alla de här? Nej.
I tried to talk him out of it, but though he'd never met her, we don't need a stepmom were the words that I remember.
Fan, här ungen är badass. Kolla på hans vänsterhand. Han har ju en jävla nita på armbandet där. Vad ska jag göra nu? Ba 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 ba. Där var de. Jävlarna.
When the time for photos came, Dad ordered him to come here. But Gus declined and as a sign held up his middle finger.
Jävla unge.
The wind picked up and panicked geese appeared and quickly went. But all the humans did that day was go inside the tent.
Ja, den bara försvann. Såg inte så mycket innan. Ja, nu. Nu är grejer.
The rain came down in buckets then, but no one seemed afraid that nature might destroy the tent our dad had crudely made. The thunder sounded much too close and full of angry power. But all my father said to this was, "Make the music louder."
Så nu kan vi plocka upp toten på den kanske, eller trädet här. Nej, inte trädet, men toten på den kan vi inte heller. Satan då. Men, ja. Jag har ingen aning om vad jag ska göra, men alltså på riktigt. Kan jag göra någonting mer? flyga den här jävla draken. Ja, där. Nej, okej. Ja, vi ska ju till få blixten slå ner i den här. Vi flyger sådär rakt upp. Nej. Ja. Nej, alltså jag har aning. Vänta lite. Edith Finch walkthrough. Jaha, ska vi se om det funkar, för jag försökte med det förut. Nej, det gör fan inte. Åh, vad dum jag är.
I wish that I could truly say I thought about you on that day. Out there on the beach alone, just you, the wind, the sea, and foam. But I didn't. Until we found you.
Oj, så han dog åt fältet, slog på honom.
She never talked about him, but Mom told me once if I was a boy, they were going to name me Gus.
Guys, you're Gus. Okay. Greg be a baby. Ja, det var inte att...
My mom moved
Att han
up to the
skulle vara en
loft
bebis
after
var
her
inte så länge.
brothers died. At the time, it was as far away as she could get.
Så jävla smart, jag hittar ju allting. Vad är det?
She spent a summer building houses in Calcutta, where she met my dad, Sanjay.
Sanjay.
My mom moved to India a week after graduation and got a job teaching English. Louis was born a year later.
Nej, så. Nu kan jag gå in där. Eller gå ut med. Okej. Här ska vi inte ner. Där ska vi nog inte heller ner. Hej, vart fan ska där
When my
var
dad died,
toppen.
I don't think Mom knew where else to go. I'm sure Edie was happy to have her back
Milton, Louis.
and to see
Edith.
kids in the house again.
Det är jag här. Detta är min. Hallå, titta på mina blommor här. Vad fina de är. Och så de. De hade inte ett skit typ.
The house had to get a little bigger, but Edie was used to that.
Jag var säkert mycket grejer fina där förut.
And for a
Det var
while,
inget.
things were good. Almost normal.
Klassrum typ. Står det här. Barbara, Molly, Sam, Gus, Sven, Odin, Calvin och Greg. Och Edith på bänken där. Här står det Louis plus Rose.
But it didn't last. The beginning of the end was Milton's 10th birthday, when Edie gave him a castle. After Milton disappeared, the only thing he left behind was a room full of paintings.
Här kan vi se. Att släktforskare tar reda vad som hände med sin släkt. Det låter nästan kul, höll jag på att säga, men det är liksom sorgligt liksom. Ta reda på vad som hände med alla i sin släkt. Länge lever kungen.
Milton Finch in The Magic
Long live
Paintbrush.
the king. Det är sån. Han är bra på att rita såna här. Och det känns som att det aldrig tar slut väldigt. Alltså blocket då. Jag har ju fan sidor kvar.
I was 4 when Milton disappeared.
Okej. Då ska vi ner igen då.
Mom spent months searching for her. Then she sealed the doors. Whatever Milton had found in the house, Mom didn't want it getting out.
Vi kan inte här. Det kunde man inte förut för dörren var vägen inte. Fy fan,
Mom
det var som
definitely
höjden
blamed
också.
Edie, but I think Louis blamed himself. After he graduated, he just spent more and more time in his room until Mom got him a job at the cannery.
En båt! Åh herregud! Varför låter jag så jävla förvånad? Det ser ut som en stor jävla röra bara liksom. Jag tror inte. Det kan vi inte gå in. Vänta, jag kan kolla det. Louis.
Everyone just told me to stay out of Louis's room, except Louis.
Åh, vilket nice rum. Så skulle jag vilja bo. Ja. Bra jävla trappa. Fast kanske var att man var tvungen att kolla i den. Ja, så där, den var inte där förut. Kunde inte öppna fönstret förut så man var tvungen att kolla den dörren först. Se, ibland måste man göra så. För att kunna göra andra saker.
Louis's room smelled very, very familiar. That part of him lived on.
Åh herregud. Jag tänker inte nämna vad det är. Ni som vet, ni vet. Och jag nämner det på mina videor. Det är julan, som man säger. Och nu kommer de bli det. För där står namnet på en drog. Ja. Eller jag vet inte om det blir det.
Dear Mrs. Finch, as Lewis's psychiatrist, I can understand your desire for an explanation. As I see it, the trouble began in January, shortly after we convinced your son to seek treatment for substance abuse. Newly sober, I believe Lewis first noticed the monotony of his daily life.
What? Va?
He kept working at the cannery, but he withdrew part of himself.
Det där trap baiting. Boo, suck your fucking son of a pig.
In
Boo.
our sessions, I saw the same behavior. His mind began to
Vad fan är det?
wander. I asked him to describe it. He said he started small, imagining a labyrinth. He'd feel his way about. Then something moved. Bats. And toads. And things that have not names. He knew it was all in his head. But he took it very seriously. I had hoped he'd find himself. But he found something more. I worried about him then.
Alltså jag kommer inte vara ofokuserad och sen så hugger jag av handen eller något.
Daydreaming at the cannery.
Kommer inte ihåg vad som hände.
I spoke with his boss. But he said Lewis had become a model employee. Methodical, tireless, focused. Like a whole new Lewis. So I let him go on. I even encouraged him. It seemed very promising at first. He told me he'd made a new friend. On the edge of a city he named Lewis-topia. He built the city up slowly, brick by brick. Then he made musicians.
Ja, det är inte lite hasch han har fått.
And songs for them to play. He talked about starting a band. And he was always humming something. Every day his imagination grew stronger. He no longer spoke at the cannery. But his shopping was as reliable as ever. Then one day it struck him that all the cheering crowds, even the stones under his feet, were all in his imagination, so he could do whatever he wished. He held an election for mayor, and he won.
Super Mario.
They begged him to stay, but his mind was already wandering. It became a game for him.
Men vad i helvete, måste jag verkligen fortsätta med en jävla fisk?
He'd conquer a city, then immediately push on. New Louisville. St. Louis.
St. Louis.
He started drifting away from our reality.
De tar ju fan deras städer och gör om deras namn bara. Oh, inte typ i... Nej, skit i det inte.
Minneapolis, until one day he forgot to go home from the cannery. Even as his mother pleaded with him, part of Louis kept sailing on.
Men fan vad så stod den egentligen, men jag kan inte se henne när jag har den här grejen.
In Louisburg, he heard rumors of a handsome queen.
Ja, jag vet inte liksom att det ska vara så, men det ska ju säkert vara någon av dem.
The queen was on her own quest for sinister serpents.
Jävlar. Det går.
He followed the sound of her
Silverharpa.
silver harp. His chase led him to a golden palace east of the sun and west of the moon. Even then, his logic remained sound. He knew the world was all in his imagination.
Fan, var kommer fisk nu då? Är det min?
But he was so proud of having created it.
Hej då dörren. Ja, mister.
In his own eyes, he'd become something greater than a king. For someone who'd never known success in the real world, I think it was overwhelming. And then it struck him that the real Louis was not the one chopping salmon, but the one climbing the steps of a golden palace. My imagination is as real as my body, he told me. It was hard to argue with him.
Bara så att vi vet, jag pratar inte mycket för att jag försöker hänga och så.
Began to forget the world we know. I think it pained him to remember Louis, the cannery worker.
Hello. Eller?
Began to despise the man with a royal contempt. still thought I could save him. Even after he said he was being crowned king of all the lands of wonder.
Jag vet inte, men han hade massa konstiga saker i huvudet. Se.
The palace lay packed with his companions.
Tackar. Behöver inte göra någonting. Jag kan bara sitta här lite bak och ta lugnt.
Including the wise Calico who'd insisted on inviting me.
Det var för fan ungarna som var bort. Ja, jag är nöjd. Tackar, prisa mig. Varför håller du så? Ska du hugga mig eller? Ha? Slenderman? Det är jag också.
His queen waited, holding his crown. There was only one thing left to do.
Herregud.
Bend
Herregud.
down his head. And the rest I think you know. Mrs. Finch, your son was a kind man who will be missed by all of us who knew him.
Ja, och eftersom det där inte var det som hände han på riktigt. Var liksom full eller något. Såg saker. Så antar jag att det är den där man tog i huvudet på
My
fisken.
brother was
Stoppa
really
in
cool.
huvudet.
I wish you could have met him.
Ja. En ganska udda berättelse ju. Men ja.
He was so
Unbelievable.
proud of being Indian. I think for him it was a way to be something other than just a Finch. On the way back from Lewis's funeral, my mom told me to start packing. She waited until the day before we left to tell Edie. I'm not sure if she wanted to make it easier or harder.
Okay.
I wish we'd stayed. But I understand why we left. What happened that night had been coming for a long time. Maybe it should have come sooner. But it had to end one way or another. All that's left now is to tell you about that last night.
Vi kör den sista. Detta är ju för fan jag, Edith.
That whole last day, Edie just watched us pack and didn't say a word. Until supper, when she raised her glass and said,
To our final night together, and all our final nights apart.
Grandma, you know what I said about alcohol. Some of your medications are very
Edith,
specific.
I left a present for you in the hallway. Why don't you go open it? The grown-ups have to argue now.
I'm sorry, you're right. We're all leaving tomorrow. Let's just enjoy our last...
I'm not leaving.
Edith, you're excused.
Okej, så nu spelar jag som mig själv fast yngre då antar jag.
the power had been shut off that morning, but Edie always had plenty of candles. When my mom sealed the library, I don't think she knew about the other entrance. Or that Edie had a key to it.
Nej, jag är Edith måste ju fan vara.
That thing you're afraid of isn't going to end when you leave the house. Edith has a right to know these stories.
My children are dead because of your stories. I think it's best if Edith and I leave tonight. We'll have the nursing home send a van for you in the morning. Okay?
Där kunde jag göra någonting.
Dear Edith, there's so many stories I wish I could tell you, but there's only time for one. This is about what happened on the night you were born. That night, the tide went way, way out. It was the first and last time I ever saw the old house aground. There'd been an earthquake out in the middle of the ocean. They called it the lowest tide in 1,000 years.
Okay.
God, it smelled awful. You know, I've seen that house every day of my life.
Det är gamla Edith Finch huset då.
But I never thought I'd go back to it. When the fog rolled in, I lost my way.
Ja, huset var rakt fram så jag bara gå rakt fram.
I got turned around. I started seeing things.
Det kallas för djur. Den sprang hit och så hoppade över någonting så...
Things I'd forgotten had ever existed. But when I saw them, they felt like old friends. That night, a lot of things came back to me.
Där är huset.
Or maybe I came back to them.
Kan detta vara en av de sista berättelserna?
Things I can't explain, but that I need you to try and...
Edith, what are you doing in here?
It's mine.
Edith!
Mom, you're gonna rip it. Let go.
Ja, de tar sönder ju.
I kicked and screamed, but Mom dragged me to the car. I never saw Great Grandma Edie again.
Han sitter jag i bagaget. Fast jag mina släktingar hade en gång en bil där man kan sitta i bagaget.
She was already gone. After that, we moved around a lot.
Det kom
We
inte
both
upp.
tried to make the best of it.
Kan jag göra någonting eller? Ah.
A few years went by. My mom didn't like to talk about it. But she started getting sick a lot. The rest happened pretty quickly. She got better for a while, and then she didn't. And then I was alone.
Så hon dog.
The last Finch left alive. Until I found out about you. I'm still not sure what to tell you about all this.
Men om... Nej.
If we
Fan,
lived
inget
forever,
film för ögonen så.
maybe we'd have time to understand things. But as it is, I think the best we can do is try to open our eyes. And appreciate how strange and brief all of this is. This journal was supposed to be for you. But now I hope you'll never see it. I just want to meet you. And tell you all these stories myself. But I guess if you're reading this now, things didn't work out that way. This is where your story begins. I'm sorry I won't be there to see it. It's a lot to ask, but I don't want you to be sad that I'm gone. I want you to be amazed that any of us ever had a chance to be here at all. Good luck.
Jaha, där var spelet färdigt. Tror jag. Det har varit ett riktigt spännande spel att spela igenom. Jag vill tacka er som har följt mig i den här serien. Jag ska försöka hitta ett annat spel som jag kan spela och göra en let's play på eller något sånt. Men just nu så får jag tacka för att ni har tittat på den här serien. Jag vet inte om ni gillat den eller så, för ni har inte sagt så mycket eller så. Men ja. Där var slutet på serien Edith Finch. Vi kanske kommer komma tillbaka till spelet för att hitta gömda grejer och så. För det fanns många mer än de vi upptäckte att hitta. Till exempel han som byggde huset, hans hittade vi. Det var man inte tvungen till att göra, tror jag inte. Men tack så mycket för att ni har tittat. Prenumerera om ni inte redan gör det. Tumma upp, kommentera. Och så hörs vi i nästa video.